Once again, thank you for joining us for this session. Feel free to scan the QR code that we have up here for any questions. And please join me in welcoming our speaker, Nate Ceres.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nate Ceres, and I'm a product marketing manager on the Azure Cloud Native Apps team. I'm joined today by George Palma, Principal PM Lead for AKS, and Amit Sabor, Senior Product Manager for AKS. And we're really happy to be here today to talk about AKS and to share some exciting announcements. Customers choose Kubernetes for its flexibility, scalability, portability, and ecosystem. AKS preserves these attributes and builds on top of them, and we want to make AKS the most advanced Kubernetes platform. We have 4 areas where we focus here: making it easier for developers to be productive, providing recommendations but still allowing flexibility for your own patterns, providing a secure managed Kubernetes service with managed add-ons and nodes, and having a resilient and scalable platform for customers to run their mission-critical apps. And Azure is the only cloud that brings together capabilities for modern app development, open source innovation, cloud-scale data, and AI in one place. AKS provides a strong foundation for building modern intelligent applications. Operators can quickly adapt to changing demands and efficiently manage security, the ability of the platform to self-correct, troubleshooting, and upgrades. And developers can use their favorite CI/CD tools to go from code and GitHub to AKS securely. And then they can leverage things like blue-green deployment without sacrificing uptime. And our customers use these capabilities every day. For Victoria's Secret, you can see the elasticity, resiliency, and observability of AKS enables them to deliver features faster. And for Mr. Turing, AKS is instrumental in powering their AI search solution. And we're also using Kubernetes and AKS a lot ourselves. Working with teams that run Bing, Office, Teams, Xbox Online Services, and GitHub Copilot has helped us understand the requirements for running apps on Kubernetes. And we've learned best practices that can help our customers be successful and have made AKS more reliable and performant. But there's still some challenges. All that choice can be overwhelming. With so many options, there's a steep learning curve. How do you make informed decisions with so much information to consume? How do I scale? What open source projects should I use? It's great to have these capabilities, but they aren't providing value if you're not using them. The people that have these capabilities or these skills are in high demand as well, so they can be hard to find. Ramping up new employees can be hard. In addition to the Kubernetes skills, how do they get acquainted with your environment and DevOps processes? So we think things can be easier. What if your clusters came pre-configured with best practices that I just talked about? What if scaling, upgrades, and things like that were automatically configured? What if robust policy settings and safeguards were enabled by default? What if you could go quickly and easily from code to production-ready Kubernetes deployments? We're going to show you how you can have all these things while still keeping the flexibility and extensibility of Kubernetes. And to do that, please welcome George and Ahmed to the stage.
All right. So this is a nice dream, Nate. Let's see if we can actually pull this off. So today, me and Ahmed are going to be shifting a bit from our usual roles. So we're actually going to be 2 team members from a team that is responsible for our Contoso Pet Store, which is a typical e-commerce application that serves pet supplies, as the name indicates. And it has a very usual and typical architecture. There's the backend pieces, order service, product service. Those are all the things that have the list and catalog of products that create, process orders, send them to queues, and then obviously the front-end piece, which is actually the website, where any user can actually have their order taken and perform that. So let's start from where we usually would. So this is our actual organization. And so we have our product services, our storefront, store admin, all of it in this repo. And you can actually see how that actually looks like in code spaces. So this is an example of the routes that we have here in our product service, which is about to deploy. But we don't know much about Kubernetes, as kind of Nate indicated. How can we actually start? Typically now I would have to go and maybe deploy some demos, maybe play around, look at the documentation, learn those best practices. What could we actually do to make this a bit simpler and a bit easier? How can we achieve Nate's dream a little bit? So let's go into the portal and see how that can actually be achieved with something new that you might have heard at the keynote from Scott. So if you navigate to Kubernetes service, this should be familiar for some of you, you're going to find something new. So under your usual create Kubernetes cluster that you see there and create Arc clusters, you're going to find this new deploy application on AKS Automatic. Interesting. So let's click that. Seems pretty good. OK, so it's asking me some access to my GitHub. You just saw it, so let me just give that access right there. Seems about right. Click the green buttons. They usually mean good stuff. There we go. That worked out. That's easy. So there we go. Our AKS AI store is there too. So let's give it a workflow name. Well, I wonder what this is. Sounds good. What else do I need? OK, repository. OK, I want to deploy my product service. Where is my product service? Right there. OK, this is going well so far. And what if I go on and do our main branch for this demo, which is just properly named? This is a Rust application. Which port are we using?
3002.
OK, so let's go 3002. I don't really know much more about this. What is this doing for me? A preview file, what does this do? Oh, OK. Docker file is created for me. It's cool. Container registry. I don't like this name. Let me actually call it pet store. Say demo?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. And let's do, we have so many at our choice. Let's do something like, let's do UK. UK South, create. Sounds about right. All right, this is generating some stuff. What is this? Deployment YAML. Oh, interesting. So seemingly, this created a bunch of files for us. I wonder if this is going to just apply them, if you're just going to deploy this. That would not be what I want. OK, create some service. Sounds interesting. Cluster details. OK. Let me go in and select
Automatic build.
build. That makes sense.
Automatic build.
Automatic build. Let's try automatic build instead. Nope.
Oh.
Not this one. That's because it's a different sub. Let's get to a
You need to
different sub.
use the company sub.
Oh, use the company sub. Yes, absolutely. So where is the sub that we want? That's a lot of subs. There we go. That's how you know this is actually real. That I'm fiddling around with it. Good. Automatic build, you mean?
Yeah.
Very good. Let's keep it on the same region. Makes
Sure.
sense to be
UK
the
South.
same as UK South. Where is my UK South here? UK West.
It's above.
It's above?
It's at the top.
There we go. And I feel pretty good about this. I don't really know what this did, but let's take a look. So it seems like a pull request is being created. Well, that's good. So didn't apply anything directly, so it actually is creating a pull request. So I'm assuming there's some sort of CI/CD going on potentially.
Yeah. I think
But where is this getting deployed into?
it's actually creating a new cluster.
Oh, that's cool. So I basically got from my repository, it detected the application
Yeah.
that I was using. It went on to create Docker files and manifests for me, create a pull request, and then deploy to a new cluster that automatically created. That's very interesting. So, and this got deployed where? Into, I assume, our product service, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So I should expect to see something like a pull request showing up here.
Yeah.
Okay, very
I think
good.
it's getting created now.
So we're doing the live magic. Come on, create our stuff. And when this is done, this will actually set up a full GitHub Actions pipeline that will deploy all of this thing to the cluster. All right, cool.
Yeah, I think it's ready for you
So
now.
now I can just go and approve pull request. So I'm the one with approving privileges.
You are.
Good.
You're the boss.
Okay. Oh, I'm the boss. Okay. We hadn't discussed that. So I'm the boss? Okay, I'm the boss. So this is our pull request. That's pretty cool. And we can now just go on and merge it. Seems dangerous, but sure, confirm. That's it.
Yeah, that's
that
it. Yeah.
Oh, that's what's pretty simple. It's too simple. So let's actually take a look at a cluster that we created just this morning that is actually doing this exact same thing and already has this pipeline deployed to. So this is a AKS cluster, but it's an automatic cluster, actually. And if we actually go, do you want to show that for us, actually? Just swap to your machine and show what the pipeline that we just demoed, and show us a bit more on how we can see this new application that we just did and show the actual product service.
I think you can actually get to it from here.
I can?
Yeah,
Interesting. Can you help me?
I can. Let's see. This is probably a resolution thing.
Let's see if there's a
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. So seems like I can go here to some workloads. Did it deploy something already? And then I can go into pet store. Where's actually my cluster there? And into my, automated deployments. That seems interesting. Oh, there we go. And this is our actual pull request that we just submitted. That's pretty cool.
You should find the service created.
The service. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. Service. Interesting. Service.
Yeah.
This was created into some namespace that I call pet store, right? Or actually namespace workflow. Oh, not this one.
No,
Pet
this
store.
one. That's the
Okay.
yeah pet store, and this is the.
There we go.
IP.
3002. So I can just, I guess, click this. Oh, there we go. So we have some pretty ugly REST response. That does not
It
sound-
works.
It works, fair. But I think we need, this is a professional company. We need to go and fix this. So what you just saw was an introduction of a little bit of Nate's dream. Let's see if we can actually continue to build on that dream. So we're really excited. You might have heard it on the keynote from Scott, and we're really excited to announce AKS Automatic. What you just saw was me starting from GitHub, fiddling around through the portal, through GitHub, without really knowing much of what was going on, and deploying an application end-to-end into a created Kubernetes cluster. Not any cluster. This cluster is actually an automatic cluster. It's a new SKU that has all the best practices that we've been recommending, hopefully, to a lot of you all these years. And they are all loaded in, pre-built into this cluster. This resource itself, as you saw, the files were generated automatically. The pipeline was generated automatically. And it is also following best practices for things like availability, reliability, security, scalability, and we're going to see a lot more. Moreover, and we're going to see a bit of that, it seems we also have built-in safeguards. That means that you can actually be comfortable and give your teams a comfortable experience for their, regardless of their skill set, regardless of their skill level and where they are in their Kubernetes adoption journey. Safeguards will actually keep them in the right track, even if they don't know, I don't know what things like PDBs are or volumes or what the best practices for availability or zones. That will actually do it all for them. And in a few minutes, fumbling in this scenario that we did, we actually got from code in GitHub to Kubernetes in a production-ready cluster in just a matter of minutes. Now it begs the question, is this the only way that we get to do this?
No, I mean, what if I don't have an app to start with?
Okay, so I guess then we would have a cluster first. Can I actually set up some different configurations for the cluster?
Yeah, so if you go to the portal, you can actually start by creating a new automatic cluster. And just by defining a few inputs, like the cluster name, and like auto upgrade schedule, every cluster comes pre-configured with Entra ID for authentication. And it comes configured with integrations with monitoring, Container Insights for logging, Prometheus for metrics, and Managed Grafana for log visualization, as well as alerts that are set up and wired up to give you alerts around like different things that are happening in the cluster and your workloads.
So we get not only the cluster created for us and all best practices, but we get monitoring, we get alerts. We can even have something that we're launching now as well, which is automatic instrumentation of the application itself. And you get all of that just like that?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
We don't have a lot of time, George. I think we need to deploy a storefront.
OK, let's go for it.
All right. So to deploy the storefront, I've seen you use automated deployments, so I'll probably try and do that as well. And in the meantime, can you check on the backend for me? Like, what do you need to deploy for the backend?
You want me to deploy the backend? All right, I can do that.
Actually need to deploy Yeah, I see the pull request succeeded for the storefront. Sorry, for the backend. So I'll go and create the storefront app. So let's call this storefront. And I'm already authorized to the same organization, so I can go there. I can pick the storefront service. And now, differently, like this app is specifically Dockerized already, so we do have a Docker file for it, which I can pick from the experience here. I'm going to use the pet store build container registry, and I'm going to create a new image for this and call it storefront. Cool. So this is the storefront app, and I'm going to deploy it in the same namespace. Okay, it seems like I've been being asked for some questions on resource scaling. This all looks good to me.
Just be aware that we're going to be showing this at an important conference, so make sure they're all good. Okay?
Right. Auto scaling looks fine. CPU utilization, okay. Health checks, auto-generated probes. Okay, this is good. Let's go over and see what's in the networking tab. All right, yeah, exposing this via service. Yeah, I know that this app actually runs on port 8080, so I'll do that. George, did you upload the certificate to use for SSL?
I did.
All right, let's go and
I think I did.
Find that. I'll see if you actually did.
Yes.
Should be in this key vault. Yeah, I see a wildcard cert here. Let's go and do that. And I think you've also set up a DNS zone for us, right?
I did, yes.
All right, so let's find it. All right. How about store? Does store look good here? Like store
demo? Yeah, like that.
Cool. I don't have any more environment variables to define. Let's go ahead and deploy that. All right.
Well, ready to go.
Looks like it created.
Cool. So you need me to approve that now?
Yeah. Can you actually do this?
Sure. Actually, I have no idea what you did. I was kind of busy here doing my own thing, but let me go see what you just did there.
You switch to yours.
What's not mine yet?
B.
There you go. Okay. So this seems like the one that we just did. I approve this?
Yeah. Do you trust me?
Wait, I need to trust you to approve this? Wait a minute. I have no idea what you did here. Hold on a minute. That's not what you should have done. I have no idea what any of these things are. What is any of this? Why are so many YAML thingies going on here? What is this? I'm going to have to ask some help. What on earth is any of this? Like, what is this? I have no idea. Okay, so from repository, sure. This is view, good. Okay. Okay, that's not helping me on this one. What exactly is this piece right here? Okay. Let me see if it can actually
ask on the file itself.
The file itself? Sure. Ask Copilot about this diff. All right. What is this? pdb.yaml, sure. Okay, API, description budget, sure, but what is this? Copilot, help me. Oh, I see, okay. So this determines if an application, the availability of an application, and so max and available one means there should be at least one. Okay, that's good, that's good.
That looks good for
I'm
reliability.
racing, my heart is racing. I have no idea what I just approved. Okay, fine. So this is all good and deployed? You're happy with this?
Maybe they want to see what the deployment says as well.
Sure.
Like, let's see what's in there. I've seen some like pod affinities and like
No
things like
idea
that.
what any of
does
these
this
things
do?
are. What is any of this? Affinity. Okay. Definitely network false. What is this? Can I ask about this? Talk about this. What is pod affinity? I have no idea what this is. Oh, okay. So that tells the rules of where you should schedule this pod to Kubernetes. Okay, that's good. So that means that then Kubernetes will know the best place to schedule this pod based on that, okay? And what do we say that affinity should be? Oh, okay, so it should be in a specific host name, it has a specific weight. All right, I feel like I'm catching a little bit the hang of this. Still don't know what half the things that in this place are. Okay, and so now this deployed our front end.
Yeah, I think it's deploying it right now.
It's deploying it right now? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. You want to show that that pipeline is actually going?
Yeah. So it did build the image, and it's now, I think it's running the deployment. Yeah, so it's using the authentication credentials that were set up with federated credentials,
Okay.
and it's rolling it out. So
Very good. So now we're basically going to have the same service, but you did some stuff with TLS as well, right?
yes,
Okay. And so it deploys the service, and the TLS is for what exactly?
I think the TLS, maybe let me go figure that out. Let's see. So we do have an ingress here.
Yeah,
Let me see what that says.
we just did.
Maybe I'll need to zoom out a little bit.
That's a lot of stuff that we don't know what we just did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what does this do? Let me ask
Ask
Copilot.
Copilot. Yeah. All right.
All right, looks like I can explain
Oh,
things.
that's a nice thing. That should help us.
Oh, looks like it's a complicated thing to explain.
No wonder. I have no idea what that is. Maybe it doesn't know either.
Let me see if I can guess. So I think this is using some sort of, there we are.
There you go. Trust it. Trust Copilot. Don't trust us. We have no idea what's going on.
Using the TLS section is specifying the DNS, the security settings for the key. It looks like it's pulling the secret from Azure Key Vault.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's where I put it, so better pull it from there.
Let's go back and see if the workload is ready now.
So you tell me that basically, hold on a minute, if you go into the automated deployment thingy that we just did, does it have the new pull request there now?
It should.
Over there, yeah. So now we're going to have two pipelines, one for the product microservice and one for the storefront microservice. All right, that's looking good. It's in progress, so let's see if it's actually done and ready to go.
Let's go and see that. I think there I saw one of the pods came up.
Okay,
Yeah, it looks like both pods are up now.
good.
So let's go and see.
So now we have the pods up, we have the product up, storefront. We had the TLS thingy, which, what do you call it, an ingress?
Yeah.
Right? We had an ingress.
Oh,
That's not ready yet. I mean, the pipeline is still going.
must be DNS.
Oh, it's always DNS. Yes, I can believe that. I certainly can believe that. I can go check if my actual DNS is it's saying succeeded. Should we try a few more times and wait for it?
See.
There's the control on the F5 piece. Oops.
Okay, it must be DNS hasn't loaded yet.
All right. let's give it a few minutes before we show that again. So what did we just did?
So I think we've deployed a cluster starting from an app. We then deployed a new app to it using automated deployments. And it set up a pipeline for us. It set up a bunch of best practices in the YAML that it generated, like PDBs for avoiding disruptions during cluster upgrades. And I think there's an HPA, like horizontal power autoscaler for scaling, which
All right.
is great.
So everything is working except DNS.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, so I guess,
So now we have a few more microservices to do, and we know what we've been going there. What else should we be doing? We go and
did you deploy
more
the
stuff?
backend?
I can deploy the backend, yes. We go and do that. In fact, I'm still deploying the backend. I'm too distracted with what you're doing.
Yeah,
Let's do the all authentication going on.
DNS is always under pressure in live demos. You know that this is not, this is really live now.
Gonna go confirm DNS zone, see if it's all good.
Yeah, let me see if the DNS zone was all good.
So who created this DNS zone?
This DNS zone is actually managed by the app routing add-on.
Oh,
It
okay.
comes with,
So it was automatically managed by also Automatic.
yeah.
Cool.
So I do see the DNS zone updated. Let's see.
Very good.
Yeah.
Do a full refresh. Nope. FN.
You know what? Let me do that. All right.
Come on, DNS. You
Yeah.
can get us there. So what do you want to do now?
Did you manage to deploy the backend?
Not yet, still going through it. But I think I got the pipeline going. Yes, I think we're mostly good on the back end.
Okay, let's go and check.
That one
it
doesn't
out.
have any DNS that we need to wait for, right?
No.
Okay. Phew.
Yeah, let's go and check it out. Yeah, I see it. I see it's in there. Yes, it's still coming up. I'm too fast.
The admin as well is still coming up?
Yeah.
Good.
So, while this comes up, I've been hearing a lot about AI and like things that we can do to make our app smarter.
Should we take care of some scaling while you're waiting for that to come up? Oh,
Oh, it's up.
good. Thank God. I have no more things to buy time for.
Yeah, looks like it's up. I can create new products and create new stuff. So,
All right, so you have the admin portal going, and that's working fine. We're still waiting on DNS for the front end
Yeah.
for customers to use. And here we add products just manually and do these kind of things.
yes.
In a conference that is so much about AI, I feel like we shouldn't be doing those manual tests ourselves.
Right. But before that, I think I've heard that you're showing this kind of, like in this service where we're launching this pet store in some sort of big conference. So I guess we should be ready for the kind of scale or the kind of orders that we're going to get. So
Sounds about right.
yeah, hopefully we get some orders. So to do that, I'll go and I think we should scale the backend.
Okay.
So go click on scale. Okay, KEDA. KEDA is the Kubernetes event-driven autoscaler. So it looks like can scale based on a couple of things right now. I'm scaling the pet store workload, which is good. This is what I want. I think we should scale like throughout the conference, right? I'm expecting more stuff to come through the
Yep.
conference.
As soon as that DNS comes in, I expect everybody just keep hitting
Right.
that like crazy. Yeah.
So it looks like there's a bunch of triggers here: CPU, cron, Azure Service Bus. Let's use cron, which looks like a schedule. So I'm going to be scaling throughout like Monday to Thursday, 10. No, let's make it like 30. Okay, I can actually see the YAML, which is fine. Let's hit that. So that should take care of this, and it should start scaling for us. I think it's currently creating the...
By the way, I'm here refreshing like crazy. It's actually come back.
The storefront is
Yes.
up now?
Yes.
DNS finally
Yes.
worked?
It is true, and it is live. And I've just been clicking F5 like a lunatic. That's all I've been doing.
So we're saying something about AI. This is like I've been hearing a lot of AI.
Yeah, so you
in this
scaled,
conference.
data scaling, DNS is not working, we're back on track.
Yeah.
We still have
Back on
time.
track.
What are we going to be doing now? So
think
we probably,
we should have some AI
we should make that admin process a bit simpler. Can you show that that
Yeah.
admin store again? So it would be really great to actually have all of this done automatically, via AI. And
Who wants to fill like
yeah,
keywords
I definitely don't want
and
to do
text?
that. Let me put my developer hat a bit more and actually think about. So we could just create a little microservice that then goes in and creates this for us. Images, generates text, does all of these things for us. So quick Python microservice can do that.
Yeah. Do you know how to do that? Actually?
I have no idea how to do that. Does anyone here has seen anything about AI that can? Yes, sir. Please
I have a
come back
volunteer
in. I did mention AI. Yes, I haven't heard it that much these days.
Yeah.
And we need help.
Okay.
We don't know each other, do we?
No, my name is Paul.
Oh, how are you doing?
Nice to
Paul,
meet
nice
you.
to meet you, Paul.
Yeah.
So come on in. Show us how it's done.
Sure.
I'll be judging you and I'll be hiring you. I just basically added some prompts into Copilot
Okay.
while you were out.
Yeah.
But I have no idea how to do this.
So I had in the back of my mind like what I wanted my AI service to actually look like. But I don't know all of the code to start off with. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask GitHub Copilot. And I'm very specific with my prompt. So I'm telling it that, hey, I'm going to write this Python app, and it's going to be written using the Fast API application. And I'm giving it very specific details on what I want. So I want it to have a generate endpoint. I want to make sure that it uses Azure Identity Library, as well as the OpenAI SDK as well. And I also want to create class names and whatnot. So what I'll do is I will ask OpenAI, hey, what code do you think I should start off with? And looks like here, that looks like some pretty decent boilerplate code for me. I think I can work with this.
That's a lot of stuff I don't know again.
Yeah. So, that looks good. So what I'll do is I'll just flip it over and bring it into my code editor. And I can start working with this code file and make it very specific, because number one thing I want to make sure is I see OpenAI API key here. I don't want to use that. I want to use totally passwordless, right?
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and do this. And Ahmed, I've been working on OpenAI stuff locally using OpenAI directly. We can do this in Azure, right?
Yeah, I've actually deployed an Azure OpenAI service. What kind of models do you want?
I'm going to need GPT 3.5 Turbo for the
All right.
product description, and then DALL-E 3 for the product image generation.
All right.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Get that done, please. I'm the boss, right?
I'm on it.
Okay, good. Now we're rushing on time, so we have like 30 seconds to develop a new microservice. No pressure, Paul.
Yeah.
World's watching.
Hey. While Ahmed's doing that, George, can you set up an automated deployment?
Oh,
pipeline
man.
to your magic again?
Sure.
Yeah, because I have a repo, and let's just get this out quickly.
I thought I was going to be getting a break on this one. Okay, I'll get that done. And you sure you need, you want to use like GPT-3, not 4.0? Like, what do you need there?
4.0 is really new, right? It just came out.
Yes.
Is it available on Azure?
It is available on Azure. Just saw Ahmed passing by it.
Did you? Oh, I think I missed that.
Oh, you don't have quota.
I don't have quota.
Interesting. You already have one created?
No, I think I...
Can folks just deprovision of you? We need to make a quota. Stop playing around with it, all right?
Yeah. So let me go ahead and get cranking on this.
Yeah, I think I'm out of quota. I've created one too many today.
Maybe create a new one. Maybe I can create one myself. Let's see.
Or you know what? I can create one in a different region
Yeah, let's do that.
while you're cranking that.
Yeah.
And we have,
So in the meantime, let's actually do one thing while you folks troubleshoot whatever's going on there. I have no idea what's happening. Let's recap a bit what we did here. So if I can go back to my machine. Which is, out of a lot of fiddling, 3 not so great developers were able to get from their existing code, fiddle around, troubleshoot, get into a cluster without knowing anything about really Kubernetes, about knowing anything about pods, PDBs. Copilot did most of the work. Automatic did most of the work. And the key things there is this is truly production ready for it. Like everything that you just saw, you saw Ahmed kind of adding scaling to it. You saw us adding pipelines into it. Every new commit that is happening there are things that we've done. And so, you all ready?
Yeah.
You all? All right.
Yeah.
Wait, you're finished?
I did. I wrote the code, I committed, I pushed, and the deployment ran.
You approved your own PR?
I did. Oh, we're not doing that today?
We need to reassess our working relationship.
So it looks like the AI service is running, but it's not ready yet. So let me just click on that to see what's going on. 0 of 2 ready. And if I scroll down,
Crash loop back off. Okay.
Crash loop back off. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And
you know what? It's the key. You haven't gotten the key.
yeah.
How can you actually now add the key? I've heard of this thing called Service Connector.
yes.
Can you-
I did see that when you were doing the automated deployment.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is,
Oh, there you go.
yeah. So what I wanted is really do a passwordless authentication. And so what I can use is Service Connector to actually configure that for me, basically connecting my workload to Azure resource. And so all I need to do here is just go to the Create Service Connector
It's in the pet store
page.
interface.
Yep, Pet Store. And I can actually select down here, Open AI Service. From there, I just select the subscription where the Open AI Service is running. And I can just click through. Workload identity is what I want to use. And Ahmed, you created the managed identity for me,
I did,
right?
yes.
OK, so let me go and find that. And it ends with identity, so I can just choose that. And oh, look at that. It can configure, it can integrate with app configuration as well.
Oh, that's interesting too.
So if I click on the advanced tab, what I can see is I can choose the roles that I want assigned specifically for this particular managed identity.
Okay.
And it's also allowing me to modify the environment variables. But this is not the environment variable that I wanted to use. What I wanted to use is this endpoint. And I can override the default. And I can just basically just click through all this. And once it's done validating, I can actually deploy this, which will enable workload identity for my service
Very interesting.
to Azure OpenAI.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So if I
Thank you.
if I can take over a little bit again to explain what you did there. So this is, we're really happy to, with Automatic, also announce the integration with Service Connector. That actually allows to us, again, still don't know what we're doing, still fumbling around with demos live, to actually connect the application into OpenAI that we just created. We just fumbled with Quota. We just created another one in a different region, added it all live. And Service Connector allows us to do that through secure connections using workload identity, also secret store key vault, or even just secrets depending on what you're using. Not just OpenAI and AI services, but all the services that Azure has from all our data stack, Postgres, SQL, Cosmos, anything that you want and need to connect your application, you just follow all those steps that Paul did, and you're good to go. Not only that, but you also saw the integration with app configuration, another thing that we're announcing today, where if you see the docs for Automatic after the keynote, you might have noticed that we're pretty adept of using feature flags. So we usually release our features with feature flags. We usually have different environments where we're testing. And having a central configuration is really helpful for you. So we're announcing as well the extension for Azure App Configuration that you can literally go on and use yourself. So in a very short term, even with all the fumbling that we did there, oops, too much, we actually deployed this whole architecture and this whole application where we started from, the product, very ugly, then we fumbled with DNS, we got the application in the store going, then we got the backend, and then we added AI into that backend, all in more time than we actually expected, 35 minutes instead of 30, but we actually did it. So we're really, really happy to see what you can do with Automatic, with no Kubernetes knowledge, facilitating your developer onboarding, hopefully not picking someone from the crowd like the magic show, but actually a new hire and someone new. But before we go out, we actually would love to hear from an actual customer and now partner of us as well. So please welcome Tanya, the VP of Product for ClickHouse, to join us. They have some interesting announcements today.
Yeah.
So could you tell us all about it, Tanya? Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, round of applause for the team. This was a really tough demo to pull off. I'm really impressed. Thank you so much. Yeah. So as was mentioned, my name is Tanya Bragan. I'm head of product at ClickHouse. And if you're not familiar with ClickHouse, we're an open source, real-time analytical database. We run this database at scale in a cloud service that is now available on Microsoft Azure. So we're very excited about it, and I'm going to tell you a bit about how we leverage native Azure services, including AKS, to build this service. Unlike the folks on stage, we actually have very experienced and expert engineers that are familiar with Kubernetes, but really are they're laughing. But really, our philosophy is that you really need to leverage the expert knowledge of cloud providers to build applications, basic ones and advanced ones like ours. So first of all, let me dive into our architecture. For an infrastructure provider, it's a pretty typical picture. We have a control plane. That's where the API and UI access for anybody who wants to spin up our database in the cloud, that's where they would connect. And the real workload itself runs in a data plane. That's where really the magic happens. And two most important services for us are blob storage for data storage, and then Kubernetes or AKS for managing the compute itself. So, when it comes to the other services that we leverage, you can see on this diagram, the purple boxes are the services that we provide, and everything else, everything in color, is other services that we leverage. So the important part here is that we actually leverage a number of services, and we just saw the Service Connect. We want to make sure that everything works in concert, everything is connected together. So again, it was a pretty easy choice for us to go with a managed Kubernetes offering, even though we know Kubernetes very well, and we've been working with it for years, including on other cloud providers. What we really want to ensure is that we have the fastest time to market on Azure, and clearly, AKS is the fastest way to get started for both novice and expert users. Ongoing maintenance, this is important going forward, but also security. We were just heard about guardrails, right? So we want to make sure that workloads that we deploy are deployed in a risk-free way. And constantly there are changes. There are changes to existing services, and we want to make sure to use out-of-the-box templates as much as possible to deploy our services securely. And finally, developer productivity. I'll talk about that toward the end. When we evaluate managed service providers and their native services, another thing that we look at is actually velocity. How quickly does the team move to release new features? So we evaluate not only the service as it is today, but we see what is on their roadmap, and we determine what features that are in preview right now that are becoming production ready, we're going to leverage to, again, save kind of our time and not build something, not reinvent the wheel. So I'll go through a few scenarios very quickly here. One example is actually scaling our workloads. And there's lots of details that go into that. And as an example, when it comes to scaling up metadata storage on volume management, we determined that the Azure Container Storage volume management is an important announcement that the team made recently, not today, but in recent months, that we're going to leverage. So that's one thing that's going to help us save time and kind of developer productivity. Another one is artifact streaming that comes with Azure Container Registry. This might be a little bit less intuitive why this is important, but as a cloud provider of databases, we actually upgrade our database for our customers, and we do it safely by staging the upgrades. So each upgrade process should run as fast as possible so that overall these upgrades don't take too long. So we agonize over how long it's going to take us to upgrade the databases, and we've determined actually one of the bottlenecks is streaming the images themselves. And this is going to actually reduce and potentially remove this bottleneck altogether. And finally, last but not least, what keeps me up at night is actually the cost of running the service. In the end, we ultimately just rent compute, resell it with our database managed on top of it. Anything that we basically deploy but don't use for customers, this is, comes into our margin. So bin packing is a very important problem that we try to solve. And we basically want to make sure that this is something that we control. We've determined that the Carpeting project is actually the best way to manage that. And in a project like Kubernetes, what's really important is not only the support for native Kubernetes features, but also the support for the ecosystem. So the AKS team does a really good job of making sure that the project is connected to other CNCF projects like Carpenter, which is really meaningful to us. So this is just an example of what the team has announced in the past 6 months while we were building our service. The announcements today, we are reacting to them in real time, much like you. We had a little bit of an advanced kind of preview, but even just some of the things that I saw demoed today, I'm really excited about. For instance, the scaling UI that was recently shown, which is new. But definitely, I would say the Copilot Explain feature, that's going to get a lot of use from our engineers. This is not only for new engineers, right? We're going to be growing our team. We're going to be onboarding new team members. Sure, we document. Our code is perfectly documented. We have wikis. But who reads the manual? Do you read the manual? I don't read the manual. So what we saw on stage today, this is really how engineers work. And I think that Copilot feature is going to really help us move fast, not only with our offering, but just helping our teams iterate faster. Finally, Service Connector, that one is going to, I think, remove a lot of boilerplate code that nobody really wants to run, but is very important to actually connect services together. As I mentioned, we don't only leverage AKS, we leverage a dozen of other services. We want them to connect together very well. And finally, automated deployments, I can't stress enough how important it is for you to leverage these preset sort of defaults. Even if you're an expert user, leverage the knowledge of the experts and make sure that you at least check out those templates as an inspiration for your own applications. So with that, I know we're at the end of our session. I just wanted to mention, if you want to try AKS Automatic, please go to this link. We certainly will. We're very excited about it. If you want to hear more about ClickHouse Cloud, now available on Azure, you can also check it out yourself, or I'll be available here afterwards to talk to you if you have any questions. Thank you so much. And again, hats off to the team for an amazing release. Thank you.